Yo, Longhairs, welcome to episode 94 of Let It Ride, where we talk long hair and business, advocate for hair equality, and celebrate men's long manes with hair whips and high fives. If you're a guy with long hair, you're in the right place. I'm here with the one and only El Moreno.
Yeah, what's up?
I am El Rubio. We're at the Longhairs global headquarters, and today we are set to introduce you to the newest long hair on the team. But first, this episode is brought to you by Hair Ties for Guys, the finest hair ties in the world, which hold your hair snugly without creasing, tugging, ripping, breaking, or otherwise mutilating your hair. Plus, fishing lures, smoking hot mermaids, and bandoliers of ammunition will show that you mean business. Stop using cheap, crummy hair ties that snap and rip your hair out. Tie up your locks with Hair Ties for Guys, and you will be a believer. You can find these and other superior products for men with long hair at thelonghairs.us. And contrary to popular opinion, long hairs do care. That's why we've established a proud relationship with Children with Hair Loss, our nonprofit charity partners who provide hair replacements at zero cost to children and young adults facing medically related hair loss. Through Long Hairs Do Care, we donate 1% of our revenue to Children with Hair Loss, and since 2015, the Longhairs has donated over $60,000. You can find the show notes, links, and updates from this episode at thelonghairs.us. And while you're there, subscribe to our email list for weekly Longhairs freshness. And now, the moment we have all been waiting for. He's the man on my left. He immediately added size and strength to the team, essentially bulldozing his way onto our staff with brute force. He is the rookie with the wave, El Spencerino.
Morning, brothers.
What up, dog?
What's up? That was the best introduction I think I have ever had.
Great. We'll get that on a loop later on today. You can play it for your wife all night long. Welcome to the Longhairs team. Welcome to your first episode of Let It Ride. Spencer Nielsen, we're pumped to have you on the Longhairs staff.
Dude, pumped to be here for sure.
So just introduction, quick intro. Where are you from and what have you been doing up until joining our team here at the Longhairs?
I am from Logan, Utah. Born and bred. If you've ever seen, what's it called, Footloose with Kevin Bacon, that's pretty much what my hometown is like. Up until now, I've been traveling all over the world, playing in a band, not at the same time, unfortunately.
Drummer, right?
Drummer, yeah. It's not ideally my genre, but, you know, it was fun while it lasted. Let's see, majored in psychology, and up until now, all of my jobs have been working with people, helping others, all that sort of thing. So.
And cosmetology recently?
Yeah, as of about 2016, I've been a licensed cosmetologist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And COVID didn't help so much with the barbering business, obviously.
Yeah, but it was kind of I think it was a blessing in disguise, in all honesty, because a lot of people that are doing hair nowadays, you're spending 10 hours a day behind the chair. You're killing your back, trying to get all the right angles and all that sort of thing. So this gave me an opportunity to finish school, and actually helped me find you guys. So I think it was the Rona did have its benefits.
Yeah. Think anyone could find the silver lining there?
Absolutely.
So how did you come to learn about the Longhairs, and how did you end up sitting here on Let It Ride?
Well, I'm sitting here on Let It Ride by the grace of God. But I found you guys by accident. When the pandemic hit, I thought, you know what? I'm going to grow my hair out. Because when I was younger, it was down to my shoulders, and I just loved it. But then I thought, you know, you're a grown-up now. You have to have short hair because that's professional. But I figured if I wasn't working, let's just grow it out. And I was Googling ways to style your hair, ways to trim your hair should you need to, and all that. And I found you guys completely by accident. It was the Getting Through the Awkward Stage article that I happened upon, as well as the ways to style your long hair. And I would, at that point, was pretty well hooked. But read up on everything that you guys do for charity, and I was like, these guys are sick. And then I found out you were in Chula Vista. and I was like, I have to be a part of this. This is the shit, man.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, and then you willed your way here. Like, basically got yourself a job. I mean, you forced your way into the door,
made some threats.
flexed your biceps, and said, freaking hire me.
Let me interrupt.
No, but really, I think, like, in a serious note, you know, like, making something happen for yourself, like, is what you did, and it's a good example. Or your kind of story of, and you being on staff now is a good example of that. So, like, you know, what were you thinking? Because it went a few months, like, right?
Yeah.
You'd sent an email, you did stuff. So, like, what were you thinking, and how the heck did you eventually seal the deal?
I just had a feeling this whole time. I'm like, you know, I've got to be a part of this in some way or another. And so I sent an email that first day, and I was like, what can I do to help you guys out? What can I do to become a part of this? Because it's epic, you know? And I think it may have been Elevano that originally responded to me. So he said, you know, do you have an Instagram that we can check out? Do you have, you know, anything like that I can send to the core for? And then I didn't hear anything for a while. And so I reached out again. I said, fellas, what's going on? I need to talk to somebody here. You know, I'll clean the toilets if I have to. You know, if you want to give me a nickname, it can be El Bastardo. If you want, I'm happy to do whatever you need. And then Moreno reached out to me, and he actually called me. And I was kind of starstruck when that one happened. I'm not going to lie. I was like, holy shit, El Moreno is actually talking to me on the phone. And you said, you know, we're going to get your foot in the door here. Just come in and talk to us. And it all went from there. I was walking through the doors of the HQ. I was just like, I can't believe this. This is a dream come true. So without sounding like a brown noser, this was a dream come true.
Dude, that's awesome.
Won a lot of persistence, and every time meeting, there were just a lot of indicators showing up when you say you're going to show up, you know, bringing what you say you're going to being prepared, just persistence and a sense of humility too. Like you said, I'll do anything you got, you know, part-time, full-time. What can I do? Want to help out.
Yeah.
And just that persistent follow-up and really just tenacity. And then really presented yourself well all the times that we met each other, and just we're like, well, shit, man, we kind of just got to get them on somehow. Got to find a way.
Yeah. I mean, and it lined up perfect for us. Like, we needed help over there with at the warehouse, and that's really kind of our entry-level spot, and we were moving El Garvinsky into a different role, and just like timing and persistence, and the universe just delivers.
The stars aligned.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly felt like it was a perfect opportunity. And I mean, I know you said at first you're like, you know, fulfillment may not be exactly what you want it to be, but dude, I love it.
Good.
I really do.
Dude,
like,
heck yeah.
I get to blast my music. I get to hang out with Goose. And it's really cool to see all the different names of people and where they're from that are getting these ties, you know. And I was telling Rubio the other day, I wish I had a little bit of extra time, because for a lot of these people, I want to write them a note on their packing slip, like, you know, thanks so much for doing this. Or if I see that they've got a coupon for their birthday, just happy birthday.
Yeah.
There was one actually of a kid that's from my hometown, and he lived right down the street from my old high school.
No way.
And so I actually did write him a note on it. I said, dude, I went to Mountain Crest.
Nice.
You know? So it's just, you know, it's really surreal almost seeing how many people are into this.
Yeah.
So you are a fulfillment specialist, just for everyone out there, and you are now, I mean, you are fulfilling orders and stocking the warehouse. Incredible seeing the names and locations and the orders coming through. Every single order is a person.
Yep.
We talked about this a little bit before. So chances are, if you're putting in an order, El Spencerino is packing it up and putting it on your position
Yeah.
with authority.
I see your name and I see where you live.
Very true.
Yeah. I'm a nice guy, though. I won't hurt you.
So you answered a few hair questions just briefly. This is not your first time growing it out, but let's just dive a little deeper on the lettuce here. You had long hair past your shoulders as a kid. You said, you know, as an adult now, hey, I can make my own choices and grow it out. Just give us a little more about the hair story, including the first time you had it long.
Sure. I mean, I first grew it out when I was about 15 years old. I had just started playing in a band, and so obviously, ipso facto, you have to have long hair if you're going to do that. And I just loved it, but it was such a battle with my mother and father, and specifically kind of the culture that I grew up in. It was really looked down on. People were assuming the worst when they would see it, and they would assume I was no good. I was doing drugs. I was this, that, and the other thing. And I'm almost kind of glad that happened, because that kind of helped me build that conviction to keep growing it out. It's like, I don't really care what you think. I know who I am, and I like long hair, But then when I got older, I was like, it's time to cut it off, unfortunately. What really did it was becoming a missionary. So I had to have short hair for those 2 years, and that was hard.
Was that in the Mormon church?
It was, yeah.
I didn't realize you did your mission.
Yeah, nobody does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, what was that like?
Where?
Yeah, where did you get? Is it called station, or what is it?
I was assigned. I was called actually to Hawaii, and I was there for 2 years.
Not a bad deal.
Listen, when God loves you, He sends you to the best place. Because He could have sent me to South Dakota or some shit.
Yeah.
But nothing against people from South Dakota. It's just kind of boring. Anyways, it was great. I absolutely loved it. And as a missionary, I was just like I am now. Like, if you want to hear what I believe, I'm more than happy to share it with you. But if you don't, well, then we can talk about something else. What do you believe in? Why don't we talk about that? So it was a huge growing experience for me as a 19-year-old kid going out to a place you've never been to, having to survive on your own, and it taught me a lot of things about myself. And I think that was really the whole purpose of it for me. But like I said, I had to have short hair the whole time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
did you have because it's usually pairs, right? So you had a partner or something?
companion.
A companion, okay.
Yep.
And you guys are going door to door or cold calling people.
Yep.
I mean, get just some examples, or maybe your highlight one or something. What are those interactions like? And, do you get a lot of heat, or?
We were pretty lucky, because people in Hawaii are really, really nice.
Yeah.
So really the mean people were the Caucasian folks. They would slam the door on us, or they would try to get in arguments with us. We called it Bible bashing.
Yeah.
But a lot of the locals, the Polynesians, your Hawaiians, Tongans, Samoans, et cetera, they're actually really, really friendly. We would meet people that didn't know who we were. They weren't necessarily interested, but they would invite us into their house to eat with them.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So it was a really, really good experience in that regard, because I was able to learn so much about other cultures and the way people do things. Because in Utah, there's just not a whole lot of diversity. There's 5 African Americans in Utah, and they all play for the Jazz. So, I mean, you just don't see anybody that's not white or predominantly Mexican there. So living amongst a whole melting pot of different cultures was the highlight for me.
Yeah.
It made all the doors slammed in my face worth it.
Yeah.
I have to ask just a little bit more about the tactics, because we've all met or had those experiences.
Sure.
And I often have wondered, like, what is the process? Is there a process that you are required to follow? Or if you were to go back and, hey, tactically, I think we can approach this a little bit better. What if we ask this question first? Or instead of did you have the leeway to try to change or experiment with different tactics or ways of approaching people to have a greater success rate? Or is it pretty clear and regimented in terms of this is how you do it and this is how we do it and that's just the way?
There was quite a bit of leeway, actually. We would practice, we would role play. I mean, it's really no different than when you're pitching an idea for the company that you work for. You want to
or
grab
fraternity.
Exactly. Or if you want to grab somebody's attention, you want to to get their interest. There are ways that you would do that through asking questions. Hey, have you ever heard about this, or what do you know about this? And a lot of it was interesting to hear what a lot of people's perceptions were about the Mormons. A lot of them are not true. But it was actually really fun to learn what people like. One guy thought that we couldn't eat white bread, which I was just like, dude, really? So there's all kinds of preconceived notions about the Mormons, and I think my favorite part was being able to answer those questions and kind of straighten things out like that. But yeah, there were different tactics that we would use to try and just get people's attention.
Dude, I mean, I think it's just such great life experience. Like, what if I feel like almost every 19-year-old should have to do something like that. I mean,
yes,
you could, in a more common level, say like go sell a product door to door or whatever, Yes. 'Cause, I mean, essentially, it's kind of the same. You're doing the similar stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Your mission is pushing out that religious message. And then, so the question I want to ask is like, is the mission more about spreading the word, or is it more about your guys' experience and growing into something,
Yeah.
Because you don't like sign people up right there, right? Like,
no,
not a conversion.
right.
There's a process.
Yeah.
They need to learn certain things. They need to agree with certain things. We want them to pray about it. We want them to feel like they're making the right choice. And if they don't want to, that's fine too.
Yeah.
The purpose of the mission, more to your question, it really is kind of a personal conversion type thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you send out a bunch of teenage boys to talk about church. I mean, they're gonna fuck it up. So, and they do.
Yeah.
But
sure.
For us, it's really just about learning to have compassion on other people, learning to serve other people, learning to put up with different personalities. Because I had some companions that I just wanted to choke. In fact, I would actually have trouble missionaries assigned to me because I would straighten them out.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't take crap from them.
Yeah.
Essentially, and I actually chewed a few of them out, made one of them cry. We'll talk about that another time. But it was a way to learn leadership, personal responsibility. You have a certain amount of money that we pay to do it too.
Okay.
You're paying about $400 a month to go out and do this. So we were given a certain amount of money each month that we had to be, frugal and responsible with. So I mean, I agree. I think this is something that most, if not all, teenagers should be doing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a religious mission, but going out and selling something.
Right.
Get on out there. Go,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Take care. Live. Go.
Spread your wings.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
But having some structure, right,
Yes,
makes it a little bit better for the cause and the learning experience. You're not just out there roaming around. You're like, hey, I'm here to actually do this. This is why I'm approaching these people.
Right.
And I mean, I remember being around that age and being super uncomfortable with going up to anyone like I didn't know, or like it would have been tough to knock on doors and cold call people and stuff but those are invaluable like lessons and confidence builders and all kinds of stuff you gain.
Yeah. And that's the whole reason we do it. We're not expecting to, randomly knock on a door and all of a sudden the person's like, yes, I want to be baptized.
Right.
We're expecting them to say no.
Right.
And I think that's the whole part of it is you need to be prepared for someone to say no, to reject you.
Yeah.
But then you just dust yourself off and go on to the next one.
Right.
Getting back up after you've been knocked down.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of invaluable lessons that I learned from it.
No wonder he got on the staff. He got hired.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no wonder the persistence.
He doesn't take no for an answer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, those are the skills that you built in that 2-year mission that, part of your whole life experience and everything else. But those directly brought you, into this room.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Agree that everyone should have some kind of mission.
It brings the entitlement factor.
Yes, dude.
And,
yeah.
And I think that's something that we need
Totally.
right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for us, a lesser kind of total thing experience, but still kind of in the same vein was in college at Fraternity, and you got to go recruit guys, and then you're approaching all these new guys. I'd say it's probably way easier, honestly, than going door to door. But
I mean, you think about it, you're trying to get someone to agree with and join your cause, what you stand for. So
Right.
I see a lot of similarities between the two. We never had keggers as missionaries, but we would it was really the same thing, going out and talking to people about what you believe in. Like for your fraternity, what were the standards? What did you plan to do? And in that fraternity, you would have service projects, you would have things that you would learn how to do. So very similar idea.
Yeah.
So I actually had a couple of guys that were in my mission with me that went to Utah State with me as well, and one of them was in a fraternity. I think it was we called them Pikes, but
Pi Kappa Alpha.
that's the one. And he was trying to get me to join, but I was like, I don't know, because I was still kind of I was really more worried about trying to get good grades than I was about partying, because I knew if I started partying that I wouldn't do well.
Oh, we can handle that objection. So you have to have a certain GPA just to be in the fraternities, and you have guys who are in your majors and all the different classes who are a little bit older. They can help you with your work. We have different study groups. We have required study hours. So academics are a very important part of a fraternity. And what we found is that most guys who have joined have actually increased their GPA after joining. So if you got any other objections.
And also, what career field are you going into? Oh, great. We have about 10 guys in the alumni who are all in there.
And they come by. We have a whole networking opportunity, job placement, internships.
It appears I made the wrong choice.
No, that's overcoming objections. Every objection is a question.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now you flipped it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You'll get better grades if you join.
Yeah, just in all, to make completely clear, really none of the good fraternities lead with any partying or anything. I mean, and honestly, it's not about parties at all. This is just fun social byproduct that happens.
Negative stereotype.
Often.
It happens a lot. Just a social byproduct that is really common.
You got to let off some steam, man. I understand that.
Oh, man, dude, I've had the academics objection probably 10,000 times.
It seemed like you were right on deck.
Oh, yeah.
Take that.
Dude, no problem.
I love it.
Off the bench, cold, but right in. Just got the lines.
Haven't done the fraternity pitch in 8 years.
Well, you're still sharp as a
Right
tack,
back
man.
into it.
You're making me want to join Sigma Nu at this point.
Hey, well, you joined the Longhairs, so you're pretty damn close.
Pretty damn close.
Good enough. I'm going to get the Sigma Nu crest tattooed on me.
Dude. Love it.
You got to get initiated to do that, so.
Would you got the koozies, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Official.
Yeah. I actually really like that. The snake. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Respectable.
So, dude, getting back into the hair a little bit more and the cosmetology game. And so how long were you a barber, and what kind of hair types were you working with, and what were you doing exactly with the hair?
Unlicensed, I've been cutting hair for a really long time. I would actually cut other missionaries' hair on my mission.
Okay.
My own hair. So, I mean, it was something that I was fairly well used to. And growing up, going to the barbershop with my dad was always, a really fun experience. And it was something that I just really loved the culture of it, because, it was a place for guys to go, let off some steam, talk about how their wife's pissing them off and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it was a fun time to just kind of be with the boys. You know what I mean? Just hang out.
Sure.
And so that was always very alluring to me. And so I had said, let me finish my degree and then I'll go into cosmetology and see where it takes me. But we got to a point when we moved out to California where I was just like, I'm really tired of working part-time jobs, doing stuff that I don't like. I'm just going to go in now and get it done. And then as I'm working, I'll finish my degree. That was the plan. So I went to San Diego City College in their cosmetology program and was able to certify. But in order to certify, you have to do a lot of different things. You have to be proficient at coloring, different chemical procedures. It's not just cutting and styling. So had to be pretty well versed in all of that. But once this is, just to be clear, this is different than like barber school, right? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And
Cosmetology, a broader field.
yes, your barbering is primarily men's hair. Cosmetology is men and women's hair, nails, makeup, all that sort of thing.
Okay.
And as a cosmetologist, you tend to make a lot more if you're working at a salon because, I mean, you can charge $200-300 for a cut and color.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, we had stylists that would come and talk to us that were having like $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
You know, just rolling in it, and so that was very appealing. But the more I did it, the more I realized I really preferred cutting men's hair. It was easier for me. The guys were a lot easier to talk to. Sometimes the women just were completely, you know, silent the whole time, and that was always awkward. But, you know, the guys would always shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I licensed, I went to a barbershop that was right down the road from me. It's called Rocknick's Barbershop, and it's primarily a black barbershop. Most of the guys that go in there are African American, and that was a baptism by fire because working with the tightly coiled, texturized hair is so different from straight or even wavy hair. You have to use the clippers and then brush it down. Brush it down, because if you don't, you're going to leave a mess.
Yeah.
And it's, once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to fade that type of hair, but if you mess up, they're going to know about it.
Yeah.
So I was able to get very proficient at fading very, very quickly. So most of my clientele were African Americans, and that was, I mean, I loved it, but I think there was a lot of trust coming from them.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people didn't want to sit with me because I'm not black. And I get it, but it was a learning experience, to be sure. So I'm grateful for the guys that were patient enough and brave enough to sit in my chair with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But then the pandemic hit, and clientele went right out the window. And so at that point, you know, as I said earlier, finished school and came to be with you guys.
And you and everyone else started growing their hair long.
Yeah. Isn't it beautiful?
It is.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Like, I have seen more guys with long hair over the past couple weeks than I ever have in my entire life. And I think it's just wonderful.
So now that it is coming fully back in, loving it, by the way. You've been coming into the office with a few different looks, a few different styles, testing out some different things. You're at the shoulders, pretty significant waves.
Yes.
So it doesn't fall straight down. So it takes a long time for your hair to fall.
It does.
What are some insights this time around? What have you noticed? What any particular challenges or long hair problems that you're encountering?
For me, it's the frizziness, the poofiness of the hair. That's why I'm wearing a hat today, because I woke up and I looked like, you know, Bozo the Clown. You know, if you can wear a hat to keep it down, or a head wrap, definitely do that. But for me, a lot of it lately has just been embracing, you know, the wave and the curl, because for so long I tried to fight it, but it's like, dude, there's nothing you can do to change it. You know, you can get it chemically straightened, but as it grows out, it's just going to be curly again. So for me, it's really come down to embracing the fact that I have really wavy, psychotic looking hair, and I think it's great.
It's a unique, I mean, it's a thing.
It is. It's a vibe.
It is
sure,
a vibe.
vibe.
It is a vibe. Curious, what does your wife think about the hair? And she had a birthday recently. Big happy birthday to her
did.
from the Longhairs.
Happy birthday, honey buns.
How does she like the hair? And what about any family, friends? It was harder growing up in Utah. What are the reactions nowadays that you're growing it back out?
So wife has really come a long way. I think I have always had really wacky hair. I think having all of that sort of people trying to shame my hair, and I'm weird as hell anyway, so I've always been doing different things with my hair, and I think throughout all of that, Sam has really stuck by me, whether it's a mohawk or a huge undercut, or at one point I had purple hair. I think growing it out long, she's like, well, he's not coloring it, he's not doing anything crazy with it, it's just long. So I think she's come to accept it. whether or not she will accept the hair going all the way down to my lower back, we'll have to see how that one goes. But
Way to go, Sam. We're with you all the way here.
yep, man, I'd be lost without her. But my family, they're fine with it now. My parents are like, you're an adult, you do whatever you want. At the time, I think they're, wanting to keep it shorter was really just so that they were afraid of other people judging me. And so I think they wanted to avoid me getting hurt. But now that I'm older and they realize that I don't give a shit what people think, they're like, do it, I haven't really faced any pushback from the folks in Utah because I don't ever go there anymore, but I don't know. It's just nice now.
Yeah.
You
It's a little easier when you're working at a company that promotes long hair too. It's kind of like
Absolutely.
everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, it's part of the job."
Yes. Well, I mean,
So-
how many job interviews have I been on where I've had to ask them, what are your grooming standards? Do I need to shave? Do I need to cut my hair? And all of them have been like, no. But then, you're still thinking, I probably should. But then I come here and Rubio's giving us the orientation. He's like, dude, longer the better. Like, yes. Finally,
It's the place to be.
It is. It is. I can't recommend it enough. So
Great cut 2024. I mean, that's just the go-to line. Like anybody could drop.
Shut down
Easy one.
any naysayers.
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, I was talking to a kid last night. He had left a message on one of our posts on Instagram, and he was saying, I really don't want to cut my hair, but, as a diesel mechanic, it gets greasy or it gets caught or, whatever. And he's like, I really don't want to cut it, but I'm going to have to if we don't find a solution to it. And I was just like, dude, message me and let's have a chat.
Yeah.
And I was giving him some pointers, and then I said, it's great to have you in the community. And he was saying, dude, I love this community so much. And I'm like, well, dude, are you coming to the Great Cut 2024? And he's like, what's that?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
It's the opportunity for you to donate hair to children with hair loss. And he's like, dude, that's exactly what I've been wanting to do. He's like, I love long hair, but I want to help someone out with it. And I was like, dude, grow it out till 2024 and come see us. Come hang out,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just that reaction of like, what is that? Is just like, in the grand scheme of all the people out there, like no one knows about the Great Cut.
No.
We have like the tiniest little
Mhm.
sliver of people considering like the audience that is down at AF for it.
Sure. Well, and it's, you published an article a few weeks ago and you're like, well, what if I don't want to cut my hair? Don't
Fine.
cut it.
Don't.
But,
Just come.
still come.
Yeah,
Just come
yeah.
hang out with us. There's going to be a lot of cool people there. There's a lot of like-minded individuals. Like, it's a gathering of the bros.
Totally,
You know?
and you're gonna find make new friends, and all this. Like, I think I've said it before on the podcast, but that was one of my highlights of the Great Cut was just seeing the guys who had been talking online or whatever all hanging out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a group of 10 guys over there, and they're all having beers and chilling and hanging like all day and taking pictures, and
Yeah.
it's just like you can't beat that physical, connection.
Yeah.
And like we didn't introduce them or like
No.
we're walking around doing a million things,
Yeah,
max anxiety, but it all just happened naturally.
yeah.
Everyone
totally.
came, the venue was there, and that's all that we needed, and it just all came together.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you don't want to cut it, just still come. It's
Yeah.
gonna be.
There's no judgment. If
It
you
was
don't want to cut
extraordinary.
it, cool.
It was extraordinary. It's gonna be even far more extraordinary the next time around.
Oh God, we gotta start marketing
Oh,
towards
yeah.
get the
Get
ticket
3
sales.
years
We
out.
don't have the tickets out. What venue are you doing?
We gotta launch tickets now.
Yeah, COVID protocol.
Pre-sale. Oh, jeez. A lot of details.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine what the COVID protocols would have to be to cut the hair to actually pull it off? Right.
They would have to be in lines outside, spaced 6 feet apart. It would be just awful. So, thank God it's in 2024.
Just everyone get vaccinated.
Please, for the good of society. Yeah.
Great cut. It's a full go.
Yeah.
We've come to learn you have a broad spectrum of interests.
Yeah.
Weightlifting, jiu-jitsu. You're going out to the mat once or twice a week.
Twice a week.
Going pro?
Yeah. basically.
Tell us about that. How's the jiu-jitsu? We've had a handful of, I don't want to say masters in every category, but we've had some very experienced and some masters and some jiu-jitsu men and women on the podcast. Tell us about rolling.
It's been, well, I mean, first and foremost, it was an opportunity to learn self-defense, and also an opportunity to lose my huge gut. So I do conditioning with Clark Gracie, whose grandfather actually invented the sport. And so it's been really cool to work with him. Sometimes he'll be my workout partner if we're doing circuit training. So every Wednesday we do that, and it murders me every time. And then on Fridays we have actual rolling where we're learning techniques and procedures and all that sort of thing. And it's been painful. But it's so enjoyable at the same time. It's like you're getting your ass kicked, but the guy that's kicking your ass is teaching you how to fight back. And he's not your foe. He's not your enemy. He's your mentor. He's just trying to help you. And it's learning to become comfortable in a very uncomfortable situation. And so for me, it's been amazing.
With your kind of build and like how your arms are and everything, like, do you find yourself you're able to muscle out of stuff, or is technique always winning when you're like with a littler guy or something?
So, I mean, jiu-jitsu was kind of created so that smaller guys could defeat bigger opponents.
Right.
So I'm almost at a disadvantage. And also being Italian, I have short, stubby limbs. And so it's harder for me to do the average maneuver. Like the triangle choke for me is particularly difficult because you have to, have your legs in such a way that you can basically choke the person out, but mine aren't really long enough. So I have to have him be like, okay, wait a second. Well, I put my leg up here. Okay, give me your arm. Okay, now tell me when you're ready to tap.
Yeah. So just slapping that on someone is not happening.
I'm going to have to find my own system of doing this because it really is hard. But it's I don't know. The fact that it's more difficult for me, I actually kind of like that because if it comes easy to you, you eventually get bored with it.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that I'm going to have to modify a few things. So Clark's been really, really good at helping me learn different techniques in that regard.
That's rad, man.
Yeah.
The other physical stuff you're into, weightlifting, you've been into it for a long time, right? We've had a lot of weightlifting guys. Number one guy, Jesse Marvin.
The professor.
Yeah, the professor.
Oh, yeah.
Jacked.
Yes, he is.
Monster.
A nice inspiration for all long hairs out there.
Yes.
To get your shit together.
Yeah, totally. We've had our El Rubio and I have had our times where we've been pretty jacked. Got to be honest, we've softened up here over the last year or so, but we could bounce back pretty quick. We're on a streak here. We got a few workouts in this week.
We're on the up. We're back on the up.
We're back on the up.
Firming.
But what is it for you with the weightlifting? Obviously, you're experienced in that realm. So kind of tell us, how'd you get into it, and why is it important to you, and how'd you get your biceps that big?
Yes. Ask what everyone wants to know.
All right, point of order. Let's start at the beginning here.
No, let's go right into the biceps.
So I inject steroids directly in. No, I have always been, you could say I've always been obsessed with physical activity. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I don't know if you guys remember that TV ad for 8-minute abs, that little VHS tape that they would promote. They also had 8-minute buns, which didn't really.
Yeah, Chris is a huge fan of 8-minute abs.
7-minute abs.
Yeah. And so when I was 5 or 6, I was asking my mom if she would get that for me, and she's like, "You're 5. You don't have to worry about your body yet."
Yeah.
And so it's always been in the back of my mind. I used to beg my father to take me with him to the gym in the mornings as I was growing up, but he said, you have to wait until you're 12, 13 because you're going to stunt your growth. A lot of good that did me because I'm still really short. But when I was about 13, 14, started lifting, and was really more into the athletic aspect of it because of Pee Wee football and track and all that sort of thing. But as I got older, got into the bodybuilding aspect, I noticed that my biceps responded very well to the punishment that I would inflict on them. And so did my quads. And I was like, this is really cool. And so I got into the bodybuilding sport, started researching bodybuilders and all that sort of thing, and eventually integrated powerlifting as well. And it's really become kind of a therapy for me.
Yeah.
It's a way to cool off. I like to lift usually alone because I can just block everything out, even the crappy music that the gym is playing, and just focus on, how's your form? Are you contracting enough? And the pump is it's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah, totally.
So it's pulled me out of a lot of bits of depression by
That's
doing
great.
that. So a lot of it's mental health, but I mean, having large guns helps too.
Yeah, man, I feel that for sure. Just always feel better after being at the gym, moving weight around.
Yep.
And yeah, there's something too about, when you really get into a rhythm at the gym, not like I really don't care about anybody else in the gym when I'm there.
Rightfully so.
But when you start really working so hard that people start coming up to you and saying stuff, that's when man, I'm really kicking ass in here,
You're doing something right.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about our experiences at what was the
Crunch?
No, not Crunch. Well, Crunch too, but when we went over to the more hardcore gym in Boulevard Fitness.
Boulevard.
Boulevard Fitness.
Okay.
When we first showed up there, there's because it's a pretty hard. Everything's concrete.
Yep.
It's a
Concrete and
hardcore,
steel.
but yeah. And there's some serious guys in there and gals, and everybody, especially if you're the morning crew. It's like when that's when the for real
hardcore show.
Yeah. So we
Yes.
would be in there. And at first, everyone's like, "Who are these freaking guys? Think they're they think they're fucking cool." But hey, a month after them watching us, we had the most jacked guys up there coming up to us and being like, "So what are you guys training for? And you guys are you guys professional athletes or
Saying what's up, just chatting it up, saying what's up.
It's the recognition of the dedication.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what
Totally.
it is.
Yeah.
If you see someone show up at 5 o'clock 5 days a week
for 3 months.
3 months straight,
You're
it doesn't matter really what they're doing as long as they're not just on their phone the whole time.
Right.
But you see them working, and that you're right. It's the recognition of the dedication.
Yep. That's
That's
all
absolutely
it is.
Shout out to Brian Morehouse, the real Lohali, El Levanta Pesas, who has just been maybe the most consistent guy on all of our channels, just hitting it constantly, hitting PRs, just always putting the work in. Not always PRs, too. Some not even doing it as well. He's got the bound shears on the inner wrist, so when he's getting the sick bench pump, you just see it going up. Dude, you're badass, man. We see you all the time. That consistency is just legendary. That's what we're talking about.
Your standard is what we strive to achieve.
Badass, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of the bound shears, that's something eventually, once I feel like I've earned it, I'm going to get that inked on my body somewhere too.
Nice.
Actually, after your 90-day introductory period, it's a required part of the position. So,
Lower left
yes, might be a
eye,
little sooner than
right?
what you were thinking, actually.
Okay. Well, that's good enough for me, man. Moreno was talking about, I think it was last week. He was like, get it on the inside of your forearm because it's like the secret. You pass along here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're talking
To
about
flash.
the small one, the quick flat, the badge flash. Just
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just do the full back piece too.
Giant bound shears.
full crest.
I love it. I love it.
So, El Spencerino, we're getting a little close here, but you have your first guest blog post coming up. Been hashing out some ideas, some hard brainstorming, put a little bit of pen to paper, got some concepts. Have
Wait,
you
not true. He already has one.
Well, there's a couple for sure that we've been talking about. I don't know.
No,
Is
enjoying
one
the ride
selected
I did.
is
one
published on the blog.
by El Spencerino.
El Spencerino.
by-
It is.
Yes.
Enjoying the ride. The photo shoot day hits his first blog. He's already
Yes,
he's already
yes.
one in.
Great call. Great call. So I can't say your first, but this will be your first that you really are creating from scratch. Obviously, Garvinsky's putting it together and there's a video and yeah, great feature by the way. Really, really nailed it. But your first one from concept to creation that you're going to be publishing for the Longhairs. What are some concepts? Have you decided on the concept? What have you got in mind so far?
Well, the one that's really been sticking out in my mind, and I have loads of ideas. Like, my nipples are bursting with ideas.
So
Full aerial
not
ascent.
a line you hear from people often, but I like it.
It comes from a very special place. The one that I think is going to be
The
happening
nips.
next. My tits. The one that's going to be happening next is thinking about badasses of the Old West.
Love it.
And so I've got several mountain men. I've got some gunslingers. I've got some American Indians that I'm putting in there that were just super hardcore people. And I think I'll be into a little bit more of the details with Rubio when we're done here, but stay tuned.
Awesome.
It's going to be wickedly sick.
Yeah, that's killer.
Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah, bro.
That will go along well with the newly released hair ties, the Giddy Ups.
Yeah.
Giddy up.
Actually, we might need to design some more badass ones.
Those ones
honestly.
are cartoony. They're dope, but they're more cartoony.
They're cartoony.
They're cute.
Not
Yeah.
like the hardcore.
Yeah.
Western.
No.
we were talking
gun
about
slinging,
Yeah.
gun
Yeah.
drawing, you know.
Outlaw hunting.
well, we were talking about, what are we going to call these ties? And I was like, we could call them the tombstones because
I
that's
like that.
one of the
Yeah.
best westerns
Yeah.
ever made.
Yeah.
And he was like, but they're a little bit soft, so maybe
your
not the
Huckleberry.
tombstones. Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry.
No, the
Yeah.
Giddy Ups are perfect for that.
No, absolutely.
Those ones.
No, that nailed it.
We
Yeah,
do need to do a harder version, though.
for sure.
The gunslingers.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the tombstones.
Yeah.
Yes, or the Poncho Villas.
Yeah.
We've already got the natives.
Which also makes me think we need to come out with some like West Coast gangster ones too.
Oh, dude, I'm way ahead of you on that one. I've got some ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all started with 6 collections and no black ties.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. We have almost, I think, 60 collections now.
I don't even count anymore.
The ones that are getting ready to drop, that there is a certain type that is one of my absolute favorites. I'm not going to say anything yet.
Go ahead.
because
No,
they
you
have
can. No, preview. It's good.
The traditionals.
Oh yeah, you like those ones?
Oh,
Sick.
my word. Oh, he's
Yeah.
wearing them.
He's
yeah.
got one.
Yeah, dude. Those are so sick.
Yeah.
Like, because old school American traditional tattoos are
Yep.
my absolute favorite. And so I saw those and I was like, good Lord.
I thought those were pretty nailed, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're badass.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks like it's just old flash that you would see in a tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
So brilliant, whoever came up with that one.
That you'd see on an old Navy Sea Dog's arm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of exciting stuff, guys, coming down the pipe. We are so pumped to have El Spencerino on the team and have you guys here. And a lot of new hair ties coming out. And don't worry, the shampoo conditioner will be back in stock soon.
It is coming.
I know everyone's sick of hearing like the excuses and COVID. We are too.
So are
We are too. Trust us. A lot of manufacturing bugs, but we're squashing them the best we can. And hopefully on this next round of shampoo conditioner, we will have it in supply for more than 2 months.
Just forever. Just always.
Yeah.
Always and forever.
Think we covered it.
Yeah.
Pretty badass show. Glad to have you on the team. Glad to have you on Let It Ride, episode 94, approaching our 100th episode, not too far away. Could be 6 weeks from now or 6 months from now. We'll never know. Just see how it all shakes out.
Yep.
But write us in, guys. Let us know what you thought about the show. If you just absolutely need to get on the team, you could follow Spencer's example, and really for anything that you're pushing for in life, that's the biggest takeaway for me today.
Absolutely.
Taking the lessons that you learned from your 2-year mission and applying them certainly towards your employment with the Longhairs and
Yeah.
getting your way in here.
Yep.
And you're making a huge contribution right out of the gate. So put in an order, have Spencer pack it up for you. He'll probably write a little birthday note or some nice thing on your packing slip
Now I
because he's
have
just
to.
so pumped. And that does it. Thanks for tuning in, boys. Until next time. See